Alright, Sun in Gemini. Now, Gemini is ruled by, Mercury is exalted here. I mean, rules Mercury. I don't think there's no planet that's exalted in Gemini, but no, Mercury rules Gemini. And, Gemini people, Sun and Gemini people, the actions. What is the sun? The sun is your actions. So based upon Gemini's actions, their actions is to communicate. But since it falls in to the first 6 zodiac positions in the sky, it's the interactions within the self. So these are the communicators within the self. So these people have mastered, Geminis have mastered the communication area within themselves. So a lot of times, if you come across an extroverted Gemini, they're extroverted for a reason, because the things that you're presenting to them may be something that they already thought about in their mind, how people may react or act on that subject. So they don't feel the need to put in their 2 cents, because they came up with the intellectual thought in themselves of what you doing. Like, say you come up to a Gemini and you're trying to give them advice on something. In their heads, they already know this is their actions. They're gonna act on this. They already know what you're doing. So that's in their mind. The actual advice you're giving them they're not taking heed to that. They're taking heed to okay, this is a person that does things like this because these are things that people do. You might be a Gemini Sun person that don't give people advice, but you didn't already got the thought processes in your head of 100 people and the way they act and their body language of people that do give people advice. So then when a person comes up to give you advice, in your head, you're like, okay, you already seen this. And in your head, your mind is bent on these thoughts. So the advice that's given to you may have went in one ear and not the other, because the only thing that was in your mind is, okay, here's a person that's talking to me right now that's an advice giver type of person, and these are things that I played out within myself, that I do in myself in my head, and I don't like people like that. That's why I did that. That's why I did that action in my head, to realize that I don't like doing that. So now I don't like everybody that do that. So now it's a person in front of me right now giving me advice, and everything is going on right now. And oh man! And then when the person is done giving advice, you're able to be like, oh yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. And then you're gonna forget everything that they said. If that person brings that up tomorrow, you're not gonna remember it. And here's why: because the whole time they're giving you advice, the only thing that's going on in your head is putting together pieces of this is what people do that give people advice, and it's like a million thoughts going on in your head at one time. So this is a Gemini. You know what I'm saying? Geminis, they are, since they already know, they don't feel the need to have to express. You know what I'm saying? Like the other air signs are Libras and Aquariuses. Now they act out this communication air in a different way. Geminis do it within themselves. So this is why a lot of Geminis may come across forgetful. This is why a lot of Geminis may come across aloof. They may come across kind of shallow, uncaring. It's just that it's not that they don't have feelings. It's just that so many thoughts running in their head of their own feelings, they may not have time to consider your feelings. And then they have a preconception in their head that they already know how you're going to feel to certain things anyway. So once they because that's an intelligence. That's an intelligence to know how everybody going to think about something. So it's like, once that go on for so many years, you get naive into your own power. So it's almost like when things do come across that you need to take heed of, in your head, you're so used to already knowing that's how people are going to act when something like that happens, that when it actually happens, you miss the whole point of it, because that framework is in your head that you already know that's going to happen anyway. So it kind of makes you look at situations from an outside looking in. So when you're in confrontations and altercations, or when you're in school trying to learn and shit like that, it always feel like it's an outer body experience. It always feel like, yeah, I'm here, but I'm not here. And this is where the duality comes in, because it start to think that it start to make your body believe it's talking to it. It start to make your mind believe it's talking to its body. So this is why Geminis have they need to do, they can multitask, because that prospect alone builds a program on them to be able to multitask. Like, they know how to multitask, because in their nature is almost like they feel like they're two people. They feel like they're separate from the body. So it's almost like, and so it portrays in their actions. You know what I'm saying? So you could look at a Gemini's face and tell when they're thinking. You know what I'm saying? And then they may have developed the thought process of, okay, people could look at me and they may look at me and think I'm thinking when I'm not. And even when they're not thinking, and a person approach them like, "What you thinking about?" They're gonna be the first person to start communicating things that they will think to you, because they think about it like, okay, since this person think I'm already thinking, well, let me go ahead and start a conversation with this person of some thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And the Gemini could have not even been thinking at that point in time, but they just have that look on their face, like everything need to be intellectually put together into pieces and places and boxes, and it's a bunch of sphere of realities I could jump into while I'm here in this one. I could be sitting in a car, but there's a bunch of other places I could jump into while I'm in this car. And then when I decide to come back into this car, I'm gonna have the amount of knowledge needed to tell you what's going on. Now, take that thought and apply that to gossip. Apply that to being in people's business. Apply that to being curious. Everything. This Geminis have the innate thought to act on their intellect. So when a person is opposing like emotional feelings upon them or something like that, before you can get an emotional reaction, you're gonna get an intellectual reaction. So this is why a lot of Geminis may come across, they will intimidate you before harming you. Like, you may get into a confrontation with a Gemini, and Gemini may tell you like, man, I'll motherfucker, now I'll kill you. You know what I'm saying? Now, not to say they won't kill you. Gemini will kill you. But that's not the reason they said it. Like, if an Aries say, I'm going to kill you, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be on their mind to kill you, because they want to do it. It's a fire sign. It's an action. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you won't hear Aries say, I'm going to kill you. If you hear Aries say, I'm going to kill you, you need to take heed, because you didn't push them to the point that they feel like they have to. So that's the only reason they say it. A Taurus, if they come to a conclusion when they say they have to kill you, you must have put them in a situation where the most practical thing they can do is kill you, for you to get off their senses. If you fucking with their senses, making them nervous, making them impractical, making them erratical, making them do things out of their nature, a Taurus could come kill you before thinking. You know what I'm saying? They won't have to think, because they think that you're messing up valuable things in their life, and their life won't be right in the first place. Unless they do what they said they're gonna do. Now, as far as the sign we're in now, with the sun sign we're in, which is Gemini, they may just tell you that to make you believe that. They may not necessarily want to kill you. Like, they may just tell you that because in their heads they feel like, or if someone intellectually tell me they'll kill me or whatever like that, or something like that, or if I intellectually tell somebody that I care, they're gonna start thinking about, instead of being in that feeling of fear or being in that feeling of wanting to kill somebody, they take everything with the intellectual thought. So they're gonna put it in thought of, they're gonna start thinking about 100 ways of people, 100 ways, different ways that people would think when they're told that someone is going to kill them. You know what I'm saying? They're more thinking about that. They're thinking about, okay, if I tell this person not to kill them, most people who hear that be scared. They leave people alone. They don't do shit. You know what I'm saying? Or this, that, and the third. So I'm going to tell that person I kill them. You know what I'm saying? So the Geminis, they don't actually say it out of they're going to actually do it. Sometimes they just say it based on the simple fact that they know all the thought processes that can come up when someone actually says this. You know what I'm saying? So they're more predicated on that. But if you push them to the point they can kill you and still have 100 thoughts in their head, you know what I'm saying, of how to get away with it, of how to do shit. Like, they smart, you know what I'm saying? But they're smart to a fault. They could be too smart to the point that they're dumb. You know what I'm saying? You're thinking too hard. You're thinking too much to the point that you end up not coming to no conclusions. Like, these are the idea people, but they have so many ideas that they may not even express one of them. You know what I'm saying? So this is Geminis need to get around a good fire sign from time to time, or a good a good water sign from time to time, so they can actually implement these thoughts into realization. Because they could be in the manifestation mode all day, but as far as grabbing that piece of air and making that air and putting that air into a bottle to put to the point that you can see the air, that means like seeing your manifestations flourish. That they may need help with that. So they can do millions of things at one time. This is action. This is your handyman. These are your people who are going to put things in perspectives for you. You know what I'm saying? Because fire signs and water signs may have a far abstract thought, right? But they don't know how to explain it. And this is when they need an air sign. And they need an air sign to put it in perspective for them, because air signs have mastered the perspective level. So when you need to communicate something but you don't know how to communicate it, call a Gemini. And a Gemini can take what you're saying and put it in the best way that could be in a social arena. So say you may hear the perspective that this Gemini may give. You may be like, nah, that's not what I mean. But trust me, they know what you mean. They just putting it in a better way for you. You know what I'm saying? So it'll come across better to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because air signs, they control communications for everybody, for fire, water, and earth. You know what I'm saying? So, and Geminis they deal with the self of communication. So they know about body language, they know about the intellect, and they know when to express, and sometimes they know when not to express. And when you run into a quiet Gemini, don't think that Gemini is quiet. Believe me, there's a million voices going on out. There's a million voices going on. Don't ever think that motherfucker quiet just because you don't hear a voice. Flight bus, bitch.